Hi guys, it's Wraith from Blackwood Games here, and look, this is the Diablo 4 beta, and look, I just wanted to run through a little bit of a class guide. There's not much really to go through, but I just wanted to give you an idea of the class lists as it stands, and put something together so you guys aren't all hanging out until basically July, I think, when it's released. So I just wanted to go through each of the characters. Now, I want to talk a bit about the Necromancer, which is quite an interesting class. I absolutely loved it. Oh, look at that. Queued for game. 1 minute left. Oh, hang on. There we go. Yeah, really wanted to talk about the Necromancer because I absolutely adore the class and the way they've got it. Now, so, first of all, the Necromancer has different aspects. Now, this is the one that I played through the beta with, and I've got really quite a lot of things that I enjoy here. But let's take first of a look about the character. So, you obviously got in the Book of the Dead. This is really where your bread and butter of the Necromancer class here. So you've got your skeletal warriors, where you can, you have a feat point that you can use on any one of these, and you can select the different types of the skeletal warriors that you want. I've elected to go with skirmishers just for the damage output. But then when you hit level 15, you'll get access to skeletal mages. Then later on, I wasn't initially aware of this, but you get access to the Bone Golem at level 25. Now, I had to actually do a quest to unlock this, and I didn't realize it initially. Yeah, you basically go into a little cellar quest, and I went with the Bone Golem that had thorns and also... yeah, the maximum life. Now that's the Book of the Dead abilities, but then you've got your actual skill tree. Now this obviously is going to be a lot bigger, and your skill tree comes in. You've got your bone powers, your blood powers, and your darkness powers. So if you see up the top there, basic blood, then basic bone, and basic darkness. However, a little further down, you will actually find that you do get to corruption, which is your fourth sort of tier thing there. Now, the build I went for, personally, like, you need 2 points in order to advance. So every point you put in, you advance down to, along this line here, down to your next abilities. Now, there wasn't a lot of abilities that I found immensely useful. I was using Reap for quite a long time before I switched to Hemorrhage, and I'm finding Hemorrhage is much better for essence regeneration. I initially wanted to use Bone Splinters, but it just seemed like a bit of a waste, and I went with 1 rank in Bone Spear as my big chunk of damage. Now, each of these core abilities in the squares here, they have mods that you can use for them. So, with Hemorrhage here, you'll see that I've elected to go with the Enhanced Hemorrhage. And you get 2 additional essence per hit. But basically, I followed the tree down. Now, these are all skill-granted ones, Sever and Blight. I really wish that I didn't have to take any of these basic skills here, but it sort of leaves you no option. So your basic skills are your generators and your which generate your essence, and you can further modify them. And I went with 3 points there. I could probably do a tighter build a little later. I actually didn't go with anything in this tree because initially I wasn't looking at blood, and you've only got your like, what, 4 slots on your tree plus your basic and your advanced cast. So I went with Iron Maiden, which was a curse down here, and Corpse Explosion, which, oh my god, is absolutely amazing. So Hemorrhage, in order to generate my essence, Then I went with Bone Spear in order to deal a chunk of damage and basically make enemies vulnerable, which I found really useful. Then I enhanced that and yeah, in order to make them vulnerable. I would like in the full build to maybe get Bone Spear right up there, but there's also like Blood Lance as well that you could potentially use, but it's got an essence cost of a huge amount. But you know, there's probably a much better way to do that. This build isn't tight at all. So yeah, you've got your basics: your Reap, your Decompose, your Bone Splinter, and your Hemorrhage. Then when we come down here, obviously you've got Sever, Blight, Blood Surge, and Blood Lance. Now I found really no use in there at all. There are some things you might want in order to get corpse generation happening a bit more. Unliving Energy, maximum essence increased by 3. I didn't find that useful at all because my essence is like 100 and I'm spending like 28 on a Bone Lance. Anyway, so to further come down, we're going to go down here, and this is where I started to get some exciting happy skills. So there's Blood Mist there. Now Blood Mist I played around with for a little bit. There I found that I could probably combine Blood Mist with Corpse Explosion to get immense amounts of damage with one of the skills, but I elected not to really push that. But if I did that, I'd go with Enhanced Blood Mist to reduce the cooldown, and then leaves behind a corpse every 1 second. Then when you've got Corpse Explosion on there, it's huge. However, I went with Thorns. And also Skeletal Warrior Mastery, which increases the damage and life of my skeletons. I also went with Corpse Explosion because it's amazing. There's no other way to say it. Then increase the radius, and then 10% increased damage to enemies that are slowed, stunned, or vulnerable. Now, as I said before, I coupled that with my curse, which was Iron Maiden, and they take extra damage. Now, the idea with Iron Maiden was that I wanted to actually, like, I could technically use Decrepify in order to slow them, but with Iron Maiden, what I was thinking of doing, where was it? I use that basically so they take extra damage every time they deal direct damage. So on top of that, they are going to be dealing me, like, they're going to be taking 53 damage each time they do damage, plus they'll also with Thorns be taking 110 damage each time. Then I put into Skeleton Mastery, obviously, all the way. I actually didn't get much things from up here. Just could not justify Corpse Tendrils because you've only got the 4 skills you can use on your bar. Now, unfortunately, with the Necromancer, if you want the Golem up, you can't actually. You have to actually take up 2 slots to have them on your bar. Even if you can't, if you remove this from the bar, you'll unsummon your skeletons or your golem. Bone Spirit was pretty good for a chunk of damage at times, but I really kind of stayed away from most of that. And there's also, other little damage mitigator skills. Now, when we got down here, this was the maximum amount. As you can see in the beta, I can only get to level 25. So, I did look at Army of the Dead. It looks amazing, but the one that I really wanted to do was Golem Mastery, but I couldn't find the points to spend on Golem Mastery. So, yeah, look, unless I dropped that by 3, which I wasn't willing to do, or dropped my Thorns, I'm not going to be able to get my Golem Mastery up to level 3. Further on down, I mean, obviously you've got these skills here. You've got Bone Spirit, Corpse Tendril. Then we go down to Blood Wave. Blood Wave looks good, and it knocks back enemies, but it's an ultimate skill. And it would be really helpful if there was an extra skill to use. An Army of the Dead, which is also an ultimate, and then you've got Bone Storm, which looks great. But really, at this point in time, I you know, didn't really push terribly hard into that. You also got Ossified Essence, and these are key passives: Callan's Edict and Shadow Blight. Now, I'm sure I could probably not get there because I need another 8 skill points in order to get there. You've also got your Paragon levels up here, which we can't really go into much detail about as at this stage. But yeah, so that's the Necromancer. I really pushed intelligence, and like, just to give you an idea, I'm going to run in here and do this quest really quickly to give you an idea of exactly the kind of damage you can be expecting. So I've got my maximum amount of skeletons. I'm sure when I go in here, there's going to be some stuff happening. So let's go in here. So I drop that and then use that and then so that gives you an idea about how quickly I just annihilated things there.
What was that?
Alright, so we got to check outside. Oh, so that was just a little example of exactly how quickly you can just annihilate enemies. Alright, so what's happening here? Let's just have a quick look.
Vasek, my husband.
Are you alright?
He looks...
Alright, so it's Chase Vasek.
Ivo, look at me. Stay with me.
Ah, demon! A blood-soaked horror!
Okay, he's gone down there, and I think that... was that him there? No?
There! Damn, he's gone into the sewers!
Alright, it looks like I'm going to have to go into the sewers. I'm hoping that it's not an entire dungeon because this is supposed to be a class video. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea of the sheer amount of damage you can do with Corpse Explosion. It does unfortunately look like it's going to be a bit of a dungeon, but that's okay, you know. Let's... so, one corpse, boom, and like that's really how quickly you just clear these areas. So let's just really push through really quickly. I mean, this just to give you an example of... So I'm not even really playing very well at the moment either. I'm just messing about. Yeah, Primitive Talisman, I mean, I'm gonna just really run through because I can't be stuff dealing with all this, but... okay, maybe I'm not. But look, all I'm doing is just spamming my button for Corpse Explosion here, and that's about it. I mean... there are better builds out there. I'm just selecting not to use them. There is a particular nasty cheap build going out there at the moment. For the Necromancer, I'm sure 100% it will be fundamentally nerfed. But look, generally, that's the Necromancer class build I'm using at the moment. So you can see that it does a lot of damage. Now, its big weakness for the Corpse Explosion thing is, unfortunately, one-on-one single target boss monsters. I'm not even playing this build effectively at the moment. Anyway, we're going to go up here. Come on. There we go. There we go. It looks like we're going down to something now. I'm going to drag these guys here. Look, my guys are making pretty quick work of these guys. Let's just really quickly summon the skeleton, just to put them up. Alright. You know what? This has turned into an entire quest, but alright, look,
It hurts.
Alright, here we go, here we go, here we go.
It hurts.
He's close.
There we are. Alright, I was hoping...
Careful. This situation is delicate.
Yeah. Delicate situation. Let's just really do this
Like
quickly.
before. Take my chalice. Vasek. Just stay calm.
Now we'll probably end up fighting a demon here. Now I've got hemorrhage, generating essence, bone
Everything's
spear,
going to be
1 of 5.
alright.
I mean, ideally I'd like these ranks up, but the gains
Father
weren't worth the
Inarius,
benefits of getting
As I
other
shed
things.
my wicked blood,
So we're going to get
let
a
it be
demon come.
purified in thy light.
Now, unfortunately, we don't have too terribly many corpses around for the corpse explosion, but I'm sure there are ads. But I'll just give you an idea of how
Let the
corpse
light
explosion
fill the darkness.
can actually be a really,
Something's wrong.
well, I guess, detrimental. So, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to drop that there, and as you can see, like, I didn't even use corpse explosion, but that was the build that I did there. Immediately slain, pretty much, like less than a couple of seconds. So we've got that done there. Now let's talk to the sister and get the hell out of here.
I've failed you. I'm so sorry. We need to get out of here.
Yeah, we need to get out of here. Speak with Sister Octavia outside. Alright, let's scan back down. Now another thing, you can leave a dungeon just like that. So I'm gonna head out of here. We'll speak to Sister Octavia outside and that'll be the quest done. But that gives you an idea of how the Necromancer's power is and how very, very good corpse explosion is.
I'm
So,
fine. It's nothing.
alright,
Sick.
la da da, I don't care. Alright, so that's that done there. Now, I just wanted to check something. Yeah, I've only got a couple of herbals. Let's go Elixir. Weak third eye. I don't even know what that is. Consumables. Increased dodge. 30 minutes. Oh, okay. That's actually pretty good. And the Whispering Key. So, look. Yeah, that's basically where we're at the moment in regards to the Necromancer. Like I said, it is quite fun. And there is a quest where you go to the Shrine of Rathmar to get your corpse there, your golem there. Now I just want to go out and give you a brief rundown of the other classes while I'm doing this. So first we'll have a look at the Barbarian. Now the Barbarian, I haven't played these at all, but I can just give you a brief rundown of the actual
I should find
classes.
better shelter
So the
before I
Barbarian's
freeze.
actually going to have some abilities in the front there that you unlock a little later, but let's have a look at the core abilities. So you got Lunging Strike, Bash, Frenzy, and Flay. Now it looked like from what I was able to see, the best ability here that you had was Bash. So you might, because it generates Fury. Okay. Further on, when you go back into these, you've got your Whirlwind, Hammer of the Ancients, Upheaval, and yeah. So you've got some dual wield abilities, Bludgeoning, and then so to give you an idea, we've got our basics: Bludgeoning, dual wield, and then you've got your Fury abilities. If we go down here, you've got Rend and Double Swing. Now further on down, you've got some defensive abilities, your Shouts, quite like the old games. And then, yeah. Then we go down here, Kick, that's another one, Shout, Warcry, Brawling, and then further on down, Weapon Mastery. That looks like it could be, a key to quite some good things. And then you've got Death Blow, and then Steel Grasp. Now, I thought when I was looking through this earlier, you've got Call of the Ancients, but it was the Iron Maelstrom, which looked really, really good. That's one of your ultimates. You've also got Wrath of the Berserker. Yeah. Wrath of the Berserker looked absolutely amazing. It is an ultimate. And yeah, obviously you're going to have your Paragon abilities as well. But really it looks like ideally what you'd want to be is dual wielding for this character here. Okay? Obviously pushing strength and maybe dexterity. Alright, so we'll look at... let's have a look at the other classes now. So the next one we're going to have a look at is obviously going to be, I believe, the Sorcerer. Alright, so looking at the sorcerer here,
I should find better
we start
shelter
off,
before I
obviously the
freeze.
sorcerer is going to be going with the arcane, which well, the shock, we've got pyromancy, we've got frost, and yeah. Now, shock, from what I was able to hear, is actually really quite OP. Now, all of these do rely on quite a lot of mana, but and there didn't initially, when I was first looking at this, seem like much of a way to regenerate mana. Now, if we go down here, we can see, you know, we've obviously go into our channeled pyromancies, then, you know, so we've got incinerate, fireball, which, you know, bread and butter sort of thing, mana, frozen orb, ice shards, and then, as we can see, maximum mana increase, elemental dominance. We've got chain lightning, which is something everybody loves, and charged bolts. Now I remember, now at a cost of 40 mana, it almost didn't seem worth it for me. You got your flame shield, your teleport, your ice armor, and your frost nova. Once again, you know, one of the things that I have noticed is that with each of these things here, you get your different buffs, and there's a lot of cooldown reductions and stuff like that. But the thing that that I sort of was a little about was these ones here are free. So like, you know, you hurl a bolt and things like that, and all these things, they all seem to be free. So they're your builders really, and each one of them seemed to have the ability in, like, it was only really the firebolt that I was seeing that gave you extra mana when hitting a burning enemy. So you're always going to have your core abilities, your basic casts, but really it looks like Glinting Frost is going to be your best one for generating mana for chilled and frozen enemies. There was also, where was it? No, it was Glinting Frost, which I looked at. So Frost builds seemed like the best way to build mana, plus it's chills and slows. And then, you know, you could obviously push that into different directions around there. Further on down, you get your Blizzard, your Meteors, and your Firewalls. I mean, but you'd be looking at something like Ball Lightning, Chain Lightning, that sort of thing. Now, it's only when you get down to these abilities like Hoarfrost, Permafrost, and things like that, that you can see that there's a lot of builds that will assist you with gaining your mana back. So you really want to be able to infinitely cast. Then obviously you've got your ultimates and your abilities down here. Alright, so that's it for that, for the sorcerer. And let's quickly move on to now the rogue. Now the rogue I actually thought was really interesting. There's a lot of damage potential there that I really wanted to get into. I think the rogue would probably be my second character. I really liked what was presented there. There's some really good mechanics. Now, obviously with these, I have no idea what their core abilities are going to be yet. I haven't really upgraded them. But anyway, you've got Blade Shift, which are cutthroat abilities. Okay. It looked like energy regeneration here was the Invigorating Strike. Then you've also got, you know, your marksman abilities for bows and arrows, which it sort of looked like your, where was it? Was it your Forceful Arrow? There was energy regeneration. Well, either way, Forceful Arrow seemed to have the ability to make people vulnerable, which is always really beneficial. Then you've got obviously your Puncture. Now you gain 2 energy when Puncture damages a crowd-controlled enemy, but so that looks like your basically your way to really regenerate some energy. Now further on down, we've obviously got Rapid Fire, which is a marksman ability. We've got Barrage, which looks like it would be a really good finisher, and it also makes them vulnerable. I think that would probably be where I went. But then you've got Twisting Blade for the Cutthroat and Flurry. Further on down, we've also got Penetrating Shot. Then we move down here, you've got your Shadow Step. And then you get into your traps. So it's almost like the Rogue is a mix of an Assassin and the Rogue, I guess. Then further on down, your Dark Shroud, which is the subterfuge stuff, Concealment, and Smoke Grenades. You also have your traps down here that move into poisons, Poison Imbuement, Shadow Imbuement, and Shadow Crush and things like that. You've also got Cold Imbuement. I'm assuming that is all trap stuff there. Then we move down to Shadow Clone. Now this is probably where your bread and butter ultimate stuff is. But it is only 15 seconds. However, I guess, you know, you could get it up to 80% of damage, and it would help. But yeah. Then we've got also your Death Trap. And your Rain of Arrows. Now, if you were going to Marksman, I guess that would be the ultimate that you would really, really want. And by the time you get up there, those damage numbers will fly up. So you've got all these other abilities here as well. So really, it's Marksman, like your traps, your Marksman, and your Cutthroat abilities. As for the internal abilities in the middle, like I said, no idea at this stage. Alright, let's move on. We have one more class yet to go through. And hopefully this video is not, you know, going to mess me about. Alright, so finally let's move on to the Druid, the final class. Now the Druid I really liked. I can't see myself playing a Druid. I didn't really like the Druid in Diablo 2. Really don't want to explore it in Diablo 4. So,
I should find better shelter before I freeze.
Regardless, the Druid's got their character abilities, which will obviously be their I'm assuming, shape change abilities. Now, we've got Claw, so shape-shifting into a werewolf and Claw at the enemy. We've got their elemental stuff, which is their nature magic. And then, so you've got your nature magic, then you've got your werebear and your werewolf. So, the werewolf looks like obviously their shape-shifting abilities are really quite good. Then you've got landslide, nature magic. Once again, nature magic, pulverize, that's a werebear thing, and then werewolf thing. Let's head further down. Still nature magic, werewolf, werebear. Further down, you are able to start summoning companions, which I really liked the idea of. Now, the Raven in Diablo 2 was actually pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. But the wolves were where it was at. The companions for the Druid I always found were really, really useful. So really, it's kind of take your pick there. Now, further on down, you've got your nature magic, your hurricane, your boulder, your rabies, okay, werewolf shapeshifting, and then you've got your werebear stuff, your trample and everything like that to further enhance your abilities. Move on to nature magic with petrify, cataclysm, lacerate, and grisly rage. And then finally with your ultimates, you've got perfect storm, nature's fury, earth and might, lupin ferocity, bestial rampage, and ursine strength. Now the thing about that is, what I'm sort of sensing here is that you've really got to kind of focus on exactly the sort of, I guess, character you want to play. Now personally, if I was going to play, I mean, I can't go past the werebear, the mighty Ursa. I'd probably go more into werebear and then have a pack of wolves, maybe the raven following me around, and you know, the Call of the Wild, I'd probably max out to 3 for the 45% damage bonus. But really, they're supposed to be quite tanky characters. You know, their willpower is quite huge. But yeah, so that's really just for the beta class review at the moment. Just going over that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Now, I realise it wasn't a really in-depth class review, and I did go a bit over time with explaining the Necromancer, but yeah, it was really quite something that I really wanted to heavily go into, only because of that corpse explosion. But yeah, thanks for viewing, and yeah, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and you know, it really helps the channel. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that really brief / not so brief class review. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.